Alright, welcome to Joshua Kemble's Vloggins. Today I woke up pretty exhausted. My wife kind of hurt her back, like her lower back. And so for the last 2 days, she's been resting. We're checking in on it, making sure everything's okay. But her sister-in-law lives with us, which is awesome. But that's been super helpful because I'm still able to go to work and know that there's someone who can watch Ben, my son, when I'm at work. But that I mean, on a productivity side of things, not to garner sympathy or anything like that, it just puts a damper on my ability to kind of output drawing for pages, because the second I get home till Ben's asleep, it's mostly like I'm just go. So I get home from work and then I'm taking care of Ben. Minor problem, not really a big problem. I'm pretty sure she'll be okay. I feel bad that she's in pain. And on the comic front, it just means a little less sleep on my end. So today I'm having a slower start, which is the reason I brought all that up. And I definitely am in need of this coffee that I'm taking on my commute. Who am I? I'm Joshua Kemble. This is my vloggins. I really paused on that N and then said the Z after. But anyhow, so good morning, guys. I hope all is well. I hope your creative output is going well. I know a lot of people subscribe to my channel either read or write comics, or draw comics, and I hope you guys are having a good time, successful time comicking. And just for fun, just to see, these vlogs don't get quite as many views as like Artcasters or the indie review show, or just like when I do live streams, which actually, honestly, I really miss doing and I'm hoping to do more of. Speaking of live streams, tonight on Artcasters, we will have Gary Hodges and Squatchy. These are great. They both have books out. Both are awesome. One is fairly irreverent, but in a great way. It's very funny, and I believe I might be a character having a horrible thing happen to me in the comic, which I'm excited to kind of check out. So there's that. So yeah, so we got that tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific. So by the time this goes up, it's either going to be after or before that said stream. But watch the latest Artcasters. Should be good. Other than that, it's kind of rainy-ish looking. It looks like it might rain. It's got that misted over cloudy thing on my drive. So let me explain who I am, though. I'm a cartoonist. I have a graphic novel out that I completed about a little under a year ago, and came out in December. And that graphic novel is called Two Stories, Book 1, which is my comic about faith and mental illness. It's hand-lettered, hand-inked, hand-drawn, and handed to you in print. And you can get a copy for yourself of Two Stories for I think it's under $5 for a 122-page book. I have no idea how they're doing it. From what I understand, I'm getting the same cut from the sales. So go forth, get that deal. If you want to help out your local comic shop, go to your local comic book store and ask them to order and stock and carry Two Stories, Book 1. It's available through Ingram, so that would be the the way to go. And I'm working on book 2. So that's what this Vloggins is mostly going to be about, is the process of creating that book, because I am aiming to get it out within a year. We'll see how that goes, God willing. Again, what I just described, things like that come up, like people hurt themselves, or people get sick, or you know, like life happens. So hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to get that work done. So yeah, so that's a little bit about myself. I also have a little top secret project that'll be coming out this year that I'll be able to talk about soon, hopefully. And so yeah, so if you're not following me on like Instagram or on here, on my platform here, YouTube, click subscribe, click like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Yeah, and that's, and then of course Twitter, I think I'm under Josh Kemble there, and on Facebook, Joshua Kemble Illustrations. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. So today I am pretty exhausted because I was up way too late penciling, and I only got 2 panels penciled. And I was hoping to pencil the whole page. And I've talked about this before on my blog, but sometimes, you know, my appetite is bigger than my stomach when it comes to art and production. I will also say I have completely screwed up on my exercise routine. I usually rely really heavily on having a daily exercise routine, and at minimum doing every other day, alternating between the rowing machine and then biking. And I've stuck pretty militantly to that for the last few years. But this has definitely been a week where, because of some of the stuff I mentioned at the top, I haven't been able to do anything health-wise, like to kind of get some exercise in, and I'm feeling it, honestly. Like, my back kind of hurts a little more than usual, and you know, I feel a little more achy, which is pretty typical for me at this age, because I have like a job where I'm mostly sitting and drawing at my day job, and then I go home and, you know, spend hours sitting and drawing. Exercise is just super important. The inability to do that, you know, again, not a complaint, just where we are. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to try to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to tonight, because I got to bed so late. I'm imagining I'm probably going to need to take like a little power nap if I can, and then do art casters. But we'll have to see how it rolls out, how the day goes, and so on. I'm pretty excited about book 2 of 2 stories. I'm struggling a bit. There's a character that's a bartender, and I think that when I go over it with inks, I might thicken up his skull a little bit. I think his skull's a little too thin, and so that's something I would like to work on and possibly fix a little bit in that. So that's something. I also, but other than that, I'm happy with how the progress is going. We were also going to do the floor install, which is supposed to, in theory, happen on Monday. So on Monday, come Monday, I should be staying in a different house for a little bit with family while we have our floor ripped apart, because it's just going to be a lot more complicated if we're trying to get around the house when, like, the access to any part of the house is going to be pretty much like torn apart. So there's that, which is on my mind, because depending, like, you know, if my wife is not feeling well and having trouble just kind of navigating, like, you know, getting in a car or something like that, then we're gonna push that clearly until she's feeling better. So so we're kind of playing it by ear till Friday, which is, I'm excited about Friday because I took Friday off, partially because I just was maxed out on vacation time at my work. And that is something I will say, man, like, if you guys have ever worked at ever worked freelance, like, full-time, which I did for about 15 years before being an art director, it was weird to adjust back to working at a place that gives you vacation time and gives you sick time and sick days and stuff like that. It's such a surreal thing after getting used to those things just kind of not existing. Or anytime you take vacation, you're basically taking a pay cut. Like, that was my life as a freelancer. So even in times of feast, because, you know, freelance and being an artist, honestly, is just feast and famine. And even during times of feast where I'd be, like, overloaded with clients, I would struggle with taking time off, because I'd feel like, you know, one day out and I'm losing money, which was actually fairly true in that scenario. So that's something I really appreciate about kind of like having an in-house art job is there's three really big things. One is vacation, number two is sick time, and number three, I mean, these aren't the only three things, but just that come to mind. In contrast, what would be, you know, health insurance, which is huge, because especially the first, like, 4 years that I was freelancing, I was without health insurance, and I will tell you, you know, if any of you guys have been without or are without health insurance, at least in the U.S., like, it's not a good situation to be in. There's nothing quite like getting like dental bill when you have no insurance, because suddenly, like, something like a mild root canal, which I guess there is no mild root canal, but generally is fairly inexpensive with dental insurance, suddenly becomes like thousands of dollars of expense, like sometimes up to like 10,000. It's insane. You know, at the time, yeah. So anyhow, needless to say, I really appreciate having insurance, having vacation time, and having sick time. Like, those are benefits, and to me, they're, you know, I really wish we lived in a world where everyone had those things regardless of what they did. But I also have experienced enough employment scenarios where that wasn't the case to appreciate it, and to remind myself to appreciate it, because it is a nice thing. So that was a long tangent, but point being, like, I am excited. So Friday, I get the day off, and that'll actually work out, because if we're able to do the floor stuff, I need to clear out our main room of the house, which has a lot of heavy furniture and a bunch of our stuff, and kind of figure out where we're going to store that stuff, either in our garage or in our bedrooms and stuff like that. If not, it's still nice to have that day to be able to help my wife navigate and get around with back pain, because that's when you sprain a muscle in your lower back, that's gotta be brutal pain, and it's hard experiencing that. When you're married to somebody who's injured, it's tough because I feel like bad for her, and I just don't like her feeling pain, and that's kind of tough. And then, of course, as a parent, it puts a little extra burden on you as well. So I don't know. It's the nice thing about it is, from what I understand, and I guess we'll find out more, but I do believe it's temporary, and so that's good. Like, there's a lot of people in this type of scenario where it's like permanent, or it's like, oh, okay, this is just a new normal, which, I think when you enter into like a marriage or whatever, that's kind of part of the deal, because you're kind of there in sickness and health. But I am thankful that, that's got to be really hard, and I'm sure as we get older, that's going to be part of our experience. But I prefer that being later rather than sooner. So yeah. Let's see. I've been thinking also on the back burner of other stories, kind of spitballing in my head, like things that I would want to write, and it's an interesting thing, and I think like some of that might start coming to fruition once I'm to the inking stage with 2 stories, book 2. Right now I'm so early in the thick of it that I think that I'm going to be pretty all-encompassed by this book, and then promoting a top secret project that I'll be able to mention at some point. And I feel like that'll be pretty much consuming most of my free time, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It's crazy though, like, I like this time of year. I like fall. I feel like summer's fun because like Ben doesn't have school, and so it's kind of a fun experience. Being able to kind of like be out and have fun and stuff, when we're not in a pandemic. But there is something nice about fall. Like right now, my drive is really interesting and pretty because it's kind of misty and feels almost like I'm driving through like the countryside in some, anime movie or something. Like a misty mountain, or the Misty Mountains from the animated Hobbit or Lord of the Rings from like the 70s. That's what I think of when I'm like surrounded by all this mist and stuff. But it's very pretty. I'd like to show it to you guys, but I've mentioned this on the last 2 Vloggins. It had been a long time before those 2. I think I went a couple months without vlogging, and part of it was just habit. Like, I'm a creature of habit, and so for me, things like doing something daily actually helps me to stay consistent with it. It's one of my big tricks with comics. And you'll notice, like yesterday, I didn't have time for exercise. I didn't have time for all sorts of things. But my comic still got progress moving forward. The only reason I had the self-discipline to be able to do that is I've built a really effective habit of comic making. Where like I would probably have trouble sleeping if I didn't get some progress done. I've kind of wired my brain that way. Or maybe I haven't wired it. Maybe it just is wired that way. But I've done it enough times for as many years. Like, at this point, it's kind of sad, but it's like over a decade. Which actually, the exciting thing about that top secret project that I can't talk about is that, like, that combined with 2 stories is like a decade of work. Which, you know, of course, obviously not the full decade. I've done plenty of professional commercial work, but that's a decade of personal, artistic vision in graphic novel form, and I'm excited about that happening. So we'll see. But you do this type of thing for over a decade and you start building habits. That's the only way to kind of retain it and keep output and make these things, because they're a huge time investment. But with the vlogs, like they you know, the way that I'm doing these, obviously they're very casual, and I would love to live in a world where I could like do really slick edits and things like that. But working with what I have and the time I have, it should be feasible for me to make these vlogs more often, and also do live streams a little more often. Although, like, to be fully frank, like this week I was thinking, oh, I'll do some live streams, and then my wife's back got hurt, and I just realized, like, other than art casters, which to me is like inflexible, I really need to do art casters like proper. But other than that, I need to just not be making any noise at night, so my wife can rest like very well. And also, her sister has to kind of help out, or it doesn't have to, actually, I should say. It's been kind enough. Whenever I'm doing these streams, if you see me like wince or like make a weird face, a lot of the times it's just like I have allergies, which I mention on stream a lot because I have these moments of like, whoa. Anyhow, so where was I? Oh yeah. So anyhow, so I haven't felt really like I should live stream right now, just because the time doesn't exist. The times that I'm working, I really do need like moments to just tune out and like listen to something. Maybe listen to a YouTube video myself, or a podcast or something like that. Or like watch like Seinfeld while I'm working, or whatever it is. But yeah, I'd like to get in the habit of doing more vlogs, because when I get in a pattern, it's somewhat easy to maintain. If I don't make that part of my pattern, then you know, there would be less video content. And I really do actually want to grow the community. I miss doing live streams because I really like the community that we have, and I've said this on Artcasters, I think our last Artcasters, and I'll probably say it again tonight, but it's like I really like the people who show up and hang out in the chats, and quite often are guests on the show, the conversations we have, the friendship, you know, my friendship with Scott and Corey, these are things I value and really enjoy. So even with these vlogs, I feel like I would like to build and give back to that community. I don't want to take advantage of the fact that I have like a decent amount of subscribers for me, not for compared to like Scott or even Corey. It's like a fraction. It's a very small amount of followers, but still, you know, over 1,000 people subscribe. I should be giving content to those people as a thank you as well for you know, being engaged, even if it's honestly like 20 people who watch these. I still want to make sure that I'm engaging in those things with those people. So yeah, so that's basically what's on my mind. So today I'm gonna head to work. Obviously, that's what I'm doing right now. This is my early Friday, which is kind of exciting. And then hopefully I'll be able to take like a power nap when I get home. Ideally, I'd like to be able to just hit the exercise. But one thing that's really bad with exercise is like exercise with like no sleep, because sleep's when your muscles recover. My measly lack of muscles recover, and so I definitely want to make sure that I'm anticipating like after work, and kind of planning that out. And I guess that might be worth mentioning. That's one of my tricks as well, to like kind of being able to make graphic novels on top of full-time day jobs. Doing art, like when you're doing art all day for money, getting the motivation to do it for yourself, to do an artistic vision project. Like, today I'm gonna draw and design all day, so, and then drive for like 3 hours. So when I get home, like, it's so easy for I can see myself very easily falling into the like, I worked hard, I deserve a break kind of thing. That a lot of my friends and a lot of Americans do, actually. And the only thing that kind of, there's a bunch of little things that help me to not do that. And one of them is like when I'm on my way to work, I'm already planning and psyching myself out for on the way back, so that hopefully by the time I get home, I'm psyched, I'm pumped, I'm ready to rock and roll and get the day done. And I have a plan for when I'm going to do my own personal projects for the day. So yeah, so that's a little bit about what's going on. I'm not even sure what I'm going to call this one, because a lot of these have had topics, and this one's been a bit random. But maybe I'll just call it Far Above the Misty Mountains or something. I don't know. But regardless, I appreciate you guys. Those of you who like enjoy hanging out with me. I know these vlogs sometimes might be like really fired and topical, and sometimes might just be me shooting the breeze and having a conversation. And hopefully you guys enjoy those. So actually, speaking of, let me know what you think of the vlogs in your comments, in the comments section below. And let me know like what kind of methods, are there any tricks you use to psych yourself out? I think psyching now I'm wondering if I'm using the wrong terminology, because I think psyching yourself out can be counter to what I'm meaning. So let me try the right word. So I think psyching would be like almost like freaking yourself out to the point where you can't take action, and that's not what I mean. So let me think of a better way. Okay, how do you pump yourself up? How do you get pumped and get ready and get excited about doing art, especially if you're having to do it on top of bill-paying work? Like if the passion projects aren't what's paying the bills, and you're having to do, like, let's say commissions, that would be a good example. I have some friends who end up having to do a lot of commissions. How do you get the juice to work on your own personal comic books after? Is there like a psychological trick you do on yourself to kind of get yourself in the zone? Or if you have like a day job, whatever it is, it's quite often hard to make time for those like creative vision projects that are more for art and less for commerce. And And so, yeah, I'm just kind of curious, what's your guys' tricks? Let me know in the comments for like getting yourself in the zone, ready to rock and roll. For me, a lot of it's just habits and anticipation, trying to kind of even micro plan my day. All right, so that'll do it. Yeah, so have a good one, guys. I hope you're having a productive, awesome day, and I will see you next Vloggins. Bye.